Welcome back to the Panthers Perspective. I'm Randy, and I'm here with
Coach Zinsmeyer, assistant head coach, offensive coordinator, junior high coordinator, a little bit of everything.
So, how would you say the year's going by so far?
It's going by. It's been not as productive as I would like as a coach. We've had a rough football year so far on all levels, and just not the expectations that I'm used to having for myself and teams that I'm associated with. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm getting an opportunity to do what I love to do. So I just got to remind myself of that every day, that I'm still getting a chance to coach kids and help kids and change kids. So, it could be worse. I could be out working in the oil field or something else, which no disrespect to anybody that does that. It's just, that's not something that would make me happy in my life.
I got you. Did you always want to coach?
Always wanted to coach. Always wanted to coach. My offensive line coach, from the time I was 15 or 16, I can't remember, my sophomore year, Coach Dolphin was the guy that influenced me, made me want to be better, made me want to pursue football, made me really love football. I love football to begin with, but he was the one that really, I'm kind of getting choked up thinking about it, but he changed what I wanted to do, the dynamic, because I just thought I would just go into construction like my dad did for 27 years. And then after that, I was just kind of like, man, like, I really want to stay in football, stay involved in football the rest of my life. So he really just encouraged me, and really all my coaches, but it was really my offensive line coach in high school that really made me kind of take this path.
Do you like coaching here in the Ranches?
I love coaching here. I love the kids. It has its challenges, just like anywhere else that I've ever been. It can be more challenging because you see the potential that's here, and you see the kids that we have, and you see that there's glimpses of really changing things and culture changes. And everybody talks about culture change, but there's really like glimpses of it that you see at games and at times. And then there's glimpses of it that the outside doesn't see, that all the Facebook warriors see and all these people out in the community see that like to bash us. There's glimpses of greatness that they don't get a chance to see because they're not there Monday through Thursday to see what we see. And but it does have its challenges, I mean, it's just like anywhere else. We had challenges in Van Vleck before me and Coach Taylor came here, where there was kids that weren't very disciplined, and and it hurt us. And so when we came here, we were like, hey, we're going to discipline. And it's just anything else, kids being kids sometimes, and it's frustrating, but I love coaching here. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you do, Coach, because I couldn't see anybody else as my O-line coach.
I appreciate that.
What would some advice would you give to a young athlete?
Well, I think I give you guys all kinds of advice on the daily. I've always kind of, everything that I've done coaching-wise, whether it's in the weight room or whether it's in the film room or whether it's on the field itself, everything that I've always done, I've always felt like I've tried to relate it to something that you're going to see in life. And I've really had a challenging life, a lot more so that a lot of people don't even realize, So, I came from a family where there was times when I was younger that my parents had a drinking addiction, and my mom was on drugs for a short period of time, and they'd be fist fighting in the hallway till 5 or 6 in the morning, and I'd have to turn around and go to school at 7. And I've had a sister that overdosed on drugs and died, and I've had a brother that committed suicide. And there's just so many things that I've been through that I try and share those things. I mean, you were here last year when my wife passed away from cancer. And because of all those things that I've gone through, I've always related back to football and really athletics, because I don't know if I don't go through football and I don't go through athletics, I don't know if I'm able to get through all the things and all the challenges that I've been through in my life. It builds character. It builds young people, young men and women, any sport because it's going to expose you to everything that you're going to be exposed to as an adult. You might not get as much playing time. So you got two things you can do. You could shut it down, which is going to make the situation worse, or you could work harder and earn what it is that you want. Well, relate that to a job. If you're not happy with your pay, you've got to show those bosses and those people out at that job that you're more marketable, that you're worth more. Like you wear your value. So if you don't represent yourself in the value that you're expecting, then it's hard to expect other people to expect you that way, So I feel like I relate a lot of things that we do just athletically to life. And just, athletics it's life learning,
Sometimes hard, yeah.
Sometimes very hard, but life can be very hard too.
What are some challenges you face coaching high school and middle school sports?
Oh man, just being pulled both directions, like it's hard. The first 2 years that I was here is really hard for me to adjust. I got to have so much stress and so much anxiety because it was like I didn't want to shortchange that at the junior high, being the coordinator down there. But it was always like, okay, I'm handling stuff at the junior high and I feel like I'm shortchanging the high school. And that position was actually supposed to be two different positions. When I was hired, I was actually hired to be the DAP teacher, and a person retired late. And so Coach Taylor had no choice but to put me in that position. We didn't have a junior high coordinator. He's like, well, that's kind of important, so I need you there. So, and then since then that it's kind of turned into two jobs wrapped into one. And, and now I've kind of learned to adapt and understand, like during football, like I got to let coaches coach and them handle it and not micromanage and just trust that they're doing everything that they can to put us in the best situation down there. And then just learning how to balance it all. Just really, that's been the biggest challenge.
So a lot of people don't know that y'all stay in the weekends and y'all study film just for us. People just think that, oh, y'all are just here, y'all are at practice. So can you let us know about some of that?
It's funny. The first year I was here, or second year I was here, we had somebody actually take pictures. This is true story, and it's not funny for us as coaches, but it's kind of funny that somebody would go to this links. But we had that 0-10 season the second year we were here, and somebody actually but took a picture of the locker room, the outside locker room. There was no cars there. Well, they took the picture at like 9 or 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Well, what they don't realize is we don't come in till 1:30 on Sundays. That gives all the coaches' families time with them, and it also gives coaches time to go to church if they choose to do that, right? And so we work Saturdays from, depending on what time we got back from the game the night before. We either come in at 8:30 or 9. The boys come in at 10 for treatment or 9:30 for treatment, and then you guys everybody comes in for film at 10:30, and y'all stay till about 12:30. Well, the coaches stay till about 2:30, 3 o'clock on Saturdays, and we start to break down the next opponent. Well, then Sunday we come in after watching film on Saturday at 1:30, and we usually stay till about 4:30ish. And sometimes even later than that. We've stayed up there. We try not to stay up there that late because we still do have families. But there has been times that we've been sitting there trying to just, what can we do to get better till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. And but we work Sunday 1:30 till probably about 4:30, and then Saturdays are from 8:30 to 2:30. No matter how long the game was the night before, we're still up here.
So how would you try to change the perspective of the communities on the team and the coaches?
I just think that the world we live in right now is super negative. Everyone wants to jump on social media and bash this person and bash that person, and this person's not doing their job and this person's not doing their job, and we're not seeing the success we could have. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is when we inherited the program that first year, there was 13 dudes that came out to play football in August. 13. And at a 3A, you're playing against teams that most of the time have a varsity JV, and some of them even have full-on freshman teams. So when we inherited this program, it was at a very unhealthy.
There was no JV?
There wasn't even a JV the first year I was here. Like, we had to go get kids out of the hallway and make a JV. Out of the 13 kids that showed up that first year we were here, 7 of them were freshmen.
Yeah, Ali.
Or 6 of them. 6 or 7 of them were freshmen. Henry was one of them. And he's one of our 2 or 3 seniors that are left, and he stuck it all the way through with us, even though we've struggled. But he's been a huge, as hard a time as I give Henry, and if you're not on the inside, you don't understand mine and Henry's dynamic. We like to joke a lot back and forth. But I am so appreciative of Henry and what he's done for our program and sticking it through and working as hard as he has to try and change the culture here. And, it has been, but it's, again, Rome wasn't built in a day. And so everybody wants now because we're conditioned, because all you got to do is pull out a phone and go, boom, I got the information I want. Well, everybody's forgot there's a process that goes with that, right? Just because the internet gives you something fast doesn't mean that everything's going to be like that in life. And so because people forget the process, they want the now. Well, they don't understand that where it was. And if you look at where it is now, the program's a lot healthier. We have almost 60 to 70 dudes in the program. This would be the first year that we've gotten to finish with a whole JV in a whole season. Last year we were really close to finishing with a whole JV throughout the whole season, and we had some major injuries, like crazy injury bug with the linemen. And so we had no choice to kind of move kids up and in the JV season. But this is going to be the first time, and this is our 4th year here. This is the first time that we've had a full-on JV. And so for the entire year. And so if that doesn't speak volumes to us growing, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people are looking at.
Yeah, like I noticed that in the summer, when I was like a 7th grader, there wasn't nobody.
Nobody. It was a ghost town during the summer.
Yeah.
And I love my summertime. Don't get it twisted. I'll be the first one to tell you and be honest. Like, I love my summertime because you have to have your time. Like, I'm not one of these unrealistic coaches that doesn't say that burnout is burnout's not a real thing. It is a real thing. And I get it. You have to be a kid, and we want to be adults, and we have to be family members, brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, all those things. And so I like my family time just like anybody. But you have to find time to commit, right? Like, I don't play the game for you guys. I tell you that all the time. My pad days are over. And so if you want the success that I was lucky enough to have in high school, it just so happened we're having this interview and we're playing my alumni. We're playing Mathis, and I grew up there, and I had a lot of success playing sports there, mainly football. We played in the state finals my sophomore year, and we played in the fourth round my junior year, and the 3rd round my senior year. But to have that success, it takes a little bit more. And I remember when I was in high school, we'd have 30, 35 dudes deep in the weight room. And that was before the UIL even said coaches could be involved. That was like on your own. All the coaches used to be able to do when I was growing up was go and lock the door of the weight room and open it up, and kids ran everything.
Dang, that's great.
And so the UIL since then has stepped in and said, well, you can have drill time, you can have weight time, you can have skill time. And it's like, how many kids really take the advantage of that? It's like everybody wants to win until it comes time to do the things that it takes to win. And, I've been around really good programs in high school. Like I said, I was in a really good program, and then I went to college and it was not a good program and we were not successful. And I got a chance to see both sides of the spectrum, and it was like, man, like, I see how blessed I was, and I see how things were ran compared to what they were in college. And, I just think kids don't understand, man. Like, we've had seniors over the last couple of years that quit because they got to go get jobs, and you have the rest of your life to go get a job, and you have the rest of your life to have a car payment, and you have the rest of your life to go chase girls or whatever it is that you want to do. Like, before you know it, the season's going to be over, and you're 1 year closer to not having eligibility anymore and not being able to play this game that you say you love.
I think a lot of people just want to be adults before they can finish being a kid. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've seen it, and you try and tell those kids as coaches. I know I'm not the only coach that says this, but as coaches, you tell those kids like, man, like your time is numbered. And I'm telling you, like, you're gonna look back at it. This girl that you're making time for to go play, chase her or whatever, and not come to football. You're gonna look back at it. If something doesn't work out, you're gonna look back at it and be like, man, like, I quit football. I didn't even get to finish my senior year. I didn't get to finish blah blah blah. Or you have kids that, well, I got to go get a job because I want to buy a car. Well, yeah, you can go buy a car. At the end of the day, you're going to need a car the rest of your life. Well, like, yeah, you're cool at that moment, but a car's going to lose its smell here in about 30 days. And you're going to look back and be like, man, okay, a car's cool, but it's just sitting in the parking lot while I still got to go to school and I'm not getting to play football. And it's just when you make decisions, and I just want to say that football and athletics is not for everybody. It is not. Because it does take a lot of dedication, and it does take a lot of heart, and it does take a lot of drive to do it right. Right? And so if you don't have that and you're not dedicated to it, I think that's what's so much easier to just say, I'll go do this. I'll go chase this. I'll go buy this, or and thankfully, with my high school career, I never looked back at it where I was like, oh man, like I should have done that differently. I was really, really blessed. I was really blessed. I had really good coaches and really, really good success. And then in college, I just wish we were able, because we had talent. We just didn't have dudes in place that were unselfish, that wanted to do the right thing. They had their own agendas.
Yeah, a lot of people now, they just want everything given to them. They think they're, what is that word you always use? That they think just because they're there, it's...
Entitled?
Yeah, entitled.
Yes, there is a lot of entitlement. And again, that's not just a kid thing. That's a learned behavior, even from adults. I can't say it enough. Like, if you want something, you got to go earn it. You got to go work for it. It doesn't just fall in your lap, man. That's not how things are built. That's like saying, hey, I want to bench 300 pounds, but you come to the weight room once a week. Well, okay, how bad do you really want to bench 300 pounds? Because it's not just going to happen. And by the way, I love the weight room because it exposes you and everything about you. Like, you can't lie and hide in there. Like, everybody think I'm some meathead football coach that just loves the weight room. I love the weight room because it exposes your character just as much as it exposes what you can do physically. It exposes character 100%. Oh, I'm a big old... Well, okay, let's throw 225 on and see if you can bench it. And you can't do it. It just proves that you're just running your mouth and not really doing what you need to do to get to where you want to. You can't skip the process with stuff like that. And so that's why I really also, for some of you guys that think I'm just a meathead football coach, that's why I push the weight room, by the way.
Yeah, I do have fun in the weight room, but dang it, man. Getting all sweaty and whatnot.
Would you say, let me ask you a question, would you say since we've been here that you've grown in the weight room?
A lot, especially because, it's bad on my part, but in my middle school, I don't think I took it as seriously.
Right.
Yeah, but as soon as I hit high school, I think I've gotten a lot stronger. And I think I got a lot more accountable. And I want to show up to practice. I want to earn that spot. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
For this year and next year.
Yeah. For y'all that don't know, Randy has stepped in the last 2 weeks. I know that he's interviewing me, but for the last 2 weeks, he stepped in. We had an injury to our starting center, and he has stepped in. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of worried about it at first, and he's done a great job the last 2 weeks stepping in for Julian being injured. So he's done a phenomenal job, man, and lost about 35 pounds, 30 pounds.
35.
Phenomenal job. Yes. Great job by Randy. Yes. But that's the difference, right? Like, Randy wants success in football, and he's a success story, right? Like, he wants something, and so he holds himself accountable, and now he wants to work for what it is that he wants because he doesn't want to miss out on opportunities. So because it matters that much to him. So he's putting in the work. So he's, that's one thing that we've had several conversations over the years since I've known Randy that, hey, man, like you could be a better football player if you blah, 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 blah. Mm. And Randy's finally bought in and held himself accountable. And now he's, losing weight. And you wouldn't believe how much better he moves on the football field.
I'd say I'm one of the shiftiest, but yeah, but our program has grown a lot. The kids are more involved. People come a lot more in the summer. And
yeah, absolutely. I know you touched on it. The weight rooms we've had, consistently over the years, like it's gotten better and better, but I still don't think it's where it needs to be. Mm. To taste the real success that people want and that kids want, it's going to take more. It's always going to take more. Like, me, we reached some level and now we're going to raise the bar and we're going to try and hit something else. Coaches don't get into coaching to lose. I promise you, I didn't get into coaching to be a loser. I think because of the success that I had in high school is another reason that I was so eager to jump into coaching, because it's like, wow, like I want to do that for somebody else. And it just stinks when you see it, but there has to be buy-in, by everybody, not just a couple.
Yeah, I feel like in football-wise that we're just right there. Every game, I just feel like even good people, we want to play Goliath, and then I just feel like we're just, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. It's funny. We drove the ball down in 15 plays, and we made a bonehead call or whatever moving forward, and the coaches owned up to that. And but we drove it 15 plays, 8.5-minute drive to open up the game against a top 10 team in the state, and so that shows that we have kids that can get it done. Against Edna, we drove the ball on them several times, down to their 20, 30, inside their 10. So we have the kids to do it. It's that little bit of thing that you need to finish. And
London was also a ball game.
Yeah, London was a ball game. Pulaski was a phenomenal ball game. Orange Grove was a nail biter. We lost that one 34-20, I think, right?
21.
So 2 scores, something like that. Yeah, so
they scored like the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, they scored the last 3 minutes, but it was 27-20 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Orange Grove will be a third round, probably second, third round type playoff type caliber team. So we're there, and you got to think a lot of these teams too. Like if you look at Goliad's roster, their entire offensive line is seniors. Right? They've got probably 15 to 18 seniors on their football team right now.
They have like one freshman or sophomore on their O-line, Keontra, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that. And we're playing with 3 to 4 seniors. And then we've got a decent amount of juniors and sophomores. So we're still playing younger dudes against older dudes. You're still getting the playing processes that you need to grow. Right, like you're going to continue to grow, but we're still playing with kids that are. Some kids probably shouldn't even be on varsity yet, but we have to use them for number wise, right? For special teams, for all those things to give dudes breaks. We have 1 or 2 freshmen or 1 freshman for sure that's on varsity that he's a good football player, but he's probably not ready to play on varsity. But we have to play him up there because of the numbers game, right? And for depth and injuries and so on and so forth. And every year that you're thrust in that situation, you bypass. Like, yeah, you're getting a developmental stage, but instead of getting to grow through the process, you're thrown into the fire type process. Last year as a sophomore, you weren't ready for varsity football.
I was a freshman.
Or freshman, excuse me. Yeah, you're a sophomore this year. So you were not ready for varsity football. I told you that first snap. When you get out there, it's going to be a lot faster. And wasn't it?
Against Oldham, yeah.
Exactly. And so freshmen should have that opportunity to grow at the freshman or JV level. And we have, like I said, this is the first year that we've had a JV team, so those kids are getting that opportunity to kind of grow. Even though they're playing sophomores, they're still not just thrown in the fire on Friday nights.
Yeah, how do you, a lot of people don't get the difference between PE and athletics, so I wanted you to go in a little bit of depth in that.
Okay. PE is a little more laid back, right? At the junior high, for example, I expect kids to dress out. So in my PE class, 50% of their grade is to dress out. The other 50% would be to participate. And so it's pretty hard to fail PE if you just do those two things. The other thing is, I have a couple of rules in the PE class just to keep it, controlled. We have rules like don't touch each other, keep your hands to yourself, basic golden rules, treat each other as how you want to be treated. I think I put in no chewing gum because I picked off like 8 pieces of gum off the gym floor last year. So other than that, PE is just a little laid back. Like every day I have 2 kids that pick a different sport. We split the gym into 2, and for example, they picked football and basketball yesterday. So half the class, gets to vote or whatever, or they get to choose. They don't just have to pick one or the other, because I know football is not for everybody. So I give them 2 options every day, and some kids will play basketball and some kids will play football. And those kids that choose not to play those 2 sports, I just tell them, like, as long as you're walking and you're moving during PE, that's what it's about, physical education. Like, you need to be physical. You need to be up and moving. We're not going to sit down during PE. And I'm sure the kids would tell you verbatim, like, I yell at them a lot, don't be sitting down. You got to be moving during PE. But athletics is a lot different. It's, you chose to be in athletics. You chose to be pushed harder. You chose, for everything that comes with athletics, the discipline, the self-discipline, the holding yourself to accountabilities of grades, and holding yourself to accountability of behavior, and holding yourself accountable to how you carry yourself outside, even in the community. I can't tell you, I've been at places where a kid messed up out in the community and it gets back, well, you're football boys. Those things hold weight. To call yourself those things have to be earned. Like, you can't just throw around, well, I'm an Aransas Pass athlete, or I'm a blah, blah, blah athlete. Well, yeah, you are, but that's not just something that's earned. It's a privilege. It's not a right. Like, athletics is not, you don't have the right to just be in athletics because you choose to be in athletics. It's something that should be earned. And if you're a student athlete that doesn't want to earn those things, then you shouldn't probably be a part of the program. Athletics is probably not for you. So that's really the 2 differences, right? Like, PE is something that, is offered, so you get a PE credit, and you get a PE credit with athletics, but there's a little bit more with it. It's a privilege, not a right.
I know football isn't over, but how do you feel about the year to come?
I think next year, obviously this year was not what I wanted it to be, but I've always had super high expectations. But seeing some of the things that I've seen, I think if we can continue to mature, because I feel like that's a lot also with the group of guys that we have is maturity. And again, it comes with having a youthful program because of where it was and where it is now, and having younger kids and so on and so forth. I think that as we mature and go through the off season, that things should drastically change next year. Do I think that over an off season that we're going to be a state contender? No, I don't think that. I think that you have to have realistic goals. And I think that we should make the playoffs next year with what we have coming back. And we should get a taste of that. And I think if we do those things and we do make the playoffs, it gives that much more initiative to those younger kids to see, wow, this is what I'm rewarded with if I do things right and I do qualify for the playoffs. Because I've been at games when there's 12,000 people in the stands. 12,000 people at the stands.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, my hair standing up on my neck walking into the Alamo Dome, just thinking about it. My senior year, that was the last game I played. We played LaGrange in the 3rd round. And I remember just walking in and looking up and thinking, man, the ceiling's it's never going to get there. It was just so high, just the atmosphere and fans in the stands shaking big old propane tanks, and it's going wild, and there's confetti at every touchdown, and you have
it's huge in there, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I remember the year we went to state, my sophomore year, And again, I just got moved up for the playoffs. I wasn't a starter or anything like that. I was a part of it, but I watched games. And just pulling into stadiums on charter buses, and you see the line of people at the ticket booth wrapped all the way around the block. I mean, it's wild. I'm telling you, like, in that time, I was really, really blessed in Mathis. Like, at that time, just being able to experience that was just unreal. And that's what I want so bad for you guys, man. Just so bad for all you. I mean, all the successes that you want in the world, I want them tenfold for you. But I'm also going to be realistic and tell you if you're not working towards those things. And, you know, I promise you I'm not a jerk. I just want what you want more for you, you know?
Yeah, I'd rather you yell at me and try to correct me than not tell me nothing at all, you know?
If I'm not talking to you, you probably need to be more worried than if I'm in your face.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting onto you, or I'm up downing you, or rolling you, or bear crawling you, or whatever it is that I can think of that day. Which I think you've probably done a little bit of all this.
Yeah. But I'm a good kid.
You know, you are one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah. Well, that about wraps it up, Coach.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank y'all for watching. Coach Z.